Welcome back, everyone. This is where we talk about all things business, taxes, and building the life and legacy you want. Today, I am super excited to bring our special guest on today, Laurie Rock. She is a high performance female health coach who is absolutely passionate about helping entrepreneurs, just like us, to help us stay energized, focused, and thriving. Laurie's all about optimizing your health so you can show up to be your very best in your business and in your life. And let's be real, as entrepreneurs, if your health goes, everything else can follow. So today we are going to be diving into why your health is your greatest asset and how to protect and elevate it while growing your business. I want to share just a little bit why I asked Laurie to be on today. And it's because I found her in October. I met her at a conference and I just loved her energy. It's amazing. It's authentic. I just loved it. We really connected. And I met her when my business for the last 2 years was growing at 30%, over 30%. And I was staying up on my health, but last year, it was one of the things that just had to give. It was just like, you know what? Um, the business is growing so fast. I'm hiring, like, I went from like 3 employees to like 8 or 9 at the end of the year. Like it was training employees, growing, like taking on new clients, getting them trained in. And I let my eating go. I was still working out, but because I let my eating go, I pretty much gained all of the weight back that worked so hard to lose, like back in 2017. And it was embarrassing. I felt like crap. I was losing my energy. I didn't have time for my kids and I was so drained after work. I just wanted to Netflix and chill. Like my weekends was Friday, Saturday, Sunday of just vegging out for that I could start again on Monday. And I only work Monday through Thursday. But when I'm working, I'm giving my all. So when I met her, I was just like, I can't, like, I'm tired of how I look. I'm tired of how I feel. And I started taking her program. Um, we started at the end of January, right, Laurie?
hmm
First of all, I felt absolutely amazing. It was tax season. I was able to only work during my work hours, and then I actually had energy for my kids and my husband after work. I didn't work on the weekends, but I wasn't like I've done things like build a garden with my son, things we've wanted to do for years that I didn't have the energy to do. We've been working in the yard, and it wasn't just about watching TV all weekend long, which is where I have been pretty much all of last year. So I'm down like 20 pounds. I'm down like 11 inches from my bust to my hips, and I just feel absolutely amazing. And it's not stopping. We're still going. So Laurie, I've kind of given my story, my testimony of why I asked you to be on today. Go ahead and share a little bit of what makes you qualified for us to even listen to you.
Right. Oh, I love that. Right. Yeah. Cause like there's so many health gurus out there and there's so much misinformation and things are like, and that's what I get from women. Like, I think when you and I first talked, I love to ask this question now because it's such a common thing and people don't really think about like, how much energy are you spending thinking about what you're going to eat, your hormone, like trying to stay healthy and like having the energy to do your life outside of your work? And like what you, I think you guessed like 60, 70, 80, like it was like a really, it
It's
was,
pretty high. I think I want to say like 80%. Like
yeah,
it was a
yeah,
struggle because I hate cooking, and I know that that was my downfall.
right. Yeah, yeah. But that wasn't the thing. Like, and that's not even the thing, right? Like, I mean, you could
Yeah.
agree, like, that's not even the thing. And I love that you said this because, and I love that you just shared so profoundly what happened to you and your journey because so many women can relate and I can relate. And that's, and that's what qualifies me to be here is that I too went through this. Right. And so, but my background set me up to win and set me up to teach other people, which is really powerful. So I was like a super healthy person, like, and this is the story. This is the common story, right? We did it. We managed our weight. We had it, or maybe we gained weight, we lost it. But then all of a sudden, boom, life shifted. Something happened. We turned 40, whatever's happening. Kids grew up left out. All of a sudden, you're not yourself anymore. And women tend to ask themselves, like, is this all there is, right? You're checking the boxes, like, look at my resume. Yay. Right. But you're not like, there's this like deeper deep sense of not fulfillment, and your health is like showing, you don't realize because you think you're good. Like, and here's the other thing, like labs like will often come back normal, yet you're wondering, like, am I crazy? Because my labs are normal, and people are like, no, it's because there's a metabolic dysfunction, right? And we don't get taught how to have cellular health, how to have metabolic health. And so that's kind of what I teach, and that's kind of how I learned. So my own journey, just the very short version to the best of my ability to be short. I'm being very fired up about this because I'm a stand for women. Because it wasn't but like a decade ago that I was an executive director for a hospice. I was a, leading a team of 100 people or whatever. And I was like, my health was starting to transform like you, very much like your story. And all of a sudden, I'm doing all the things like all the women, right? I'm eating clean, working out. God, I was working out, right? And like, how am I gaining weight? Right. And then you like untuck your shirt. You know what I'm talking about? Like you untuck your shirt. You're like, that's not that bad. Secretly inside, there's like the dialogue. Yeah. So you torture yourself, you shame yourself, and you blame yourself, and you think there's something magically wrong with you, and there's not. It's that there's misinformation. And so the same thing happened to me because I've been studying holistic health for like 30 years. I am an RN. Right. And so I have that background, but I have specifically with a holistic RN before it was cool because I'm actually 55 years old. I feel like I'm aging in reverse, to be honest with you. Like I feel better than I felt at 35. Because of all this healing, right? Because and so for me, my journey wasn't about just like eating clean and working out. That is not the magic formula, right? Of course it matters, and of course that factors in, but it was about like coming to that point, that come to Jesus meeting, right? Like a woman yesterday was telling me she couldn't get out of the bathtub, right?
Mm,
Which isn't common, right? Or the woman, or I've had women who walked on Tony Robbins stage who say, I'm a health expert. Why can't I get it right? I have another person, another client is a doctor. I'm supposed to know. No, you're not supposed to know. Most doctors only get 4 hours of actual
nutrition.
nutrition education.
Yeah.
People that are teaching the doctors a lot of the things that they're doing now are the pharmaceutical representatives, right? They don't have time to go like deep dive into emotional and spiritual healing and women's issues and like how women are different than men. And so that's the kind of stuff when I was like, okay, I'm like the diva of health, and people are already asking me about what I do because I'm in the role of being a healthcare provider in a holistic situation, right? And how am I getting how like the shame was overwhelming because I was like, I can't keep
Yes.
it together, right? That's like a financial person, like you being broke or something. You're like, okay. I'm like, hmm. And so I was like, okay, this isn't the missing piece. And so I dug in, right? I dug into hormones. I dug in, and there wasn't a lot of information available, right? Because what is what's really commonly not known is that most of the scientifically backed studies, right? You have to watch where your study comes from because a lot of times they're from the person, like, the person who wants to sell you the thing does the study, right? So but the scientific studies are done on 80% is men, right? So women are biologically different creatures, right? Men operate on a 24-hour cycle and have one main hormone. Of course, they have more, right? But they have one main hormone, testosterone, which we're all familiar with. But women have a cascade of hormones, right? And it's not just the ones we're familiar with, right? There's like a whole litany of hormonal balance that factors in. It's so confusing. Even hormone experts are like, here, just take a hormone pill, right? So everybody's going to get bioidentical hormones. What I did, I got bioidentical hormones, right? I was like, that'll fix it, right? And sure, it took the edge off. I'm not gonna, and like anything, right? Like it took the edge off, like an aspirin, right? I got a little bit, but then all of a sudden my hair started falling out. It's
Mm.
like, WTF? And they're like, well, your blood work says this is what you need. And I'm like, and so I called and I'm like, my hair is now falling out. Can you help me? And they're like, yes, ma'am. I'll give you a pill to fix your bioidentical hormone thing called aldosterone. And that'll stop block this and whatever, and it'll make it stop. And I'm like, oh, good. So now I get two drugs to solve my problem. Meanwhile, I've got all I was like, and then I started to see my mother, right? Like at the kitchen table where she was existing, right? Because this is the culture she grew up in. The doctors is God, right? Doctor as God versus doctor as partnership, right? That's one tip I'll give you just out the gate, even though we're still answering your very first question. But um, I'm such a stand for women to take back their health. Like, I mean that from like like whatever you have to do, wherever you have to go, whatever you have to do to take it back yourself, to not be reliant on a drug or a pill or a poke, a dangerous poke or a potion or a supplement. Not that some of that stuff isn't great, but not first, because you can get so far, as Kristen just testified, right? Like she's this has happened not with the help of a supplement. This is her own body healing herself, right?
Yep,
And yeah, right? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe say a little bit about that, and then I'll.
Um, well, I haven't even shared this with you before, Lori, but back in 2017, my stepdaughter got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And then my boys were young, like maybe 9 and 5 at the time. So my husband was constantly at the hospital, and it was horrible, emotional. And that's when I really let things go. And I mean, it was just so stressful.
Oh god.
And then I was so depressed. Like I cried all the time. I had no idea what to expect, what the future looked like. And I was basically in charge of just making sure all the bills got paid, while my husband took care of the health stuff. And then raising the two boys, like he would leave before 6 a.m. and he wouldn't get home until after 10 a.m., 10 p.m.
Wow.
because he's driving down to Houston to
Yeah.
the children's hospital every day. But anyways,
Yeah.
um,
That's tough.
because of that, I was so depressed. I went and got on depressant medicine. So I was on that, and then very shortly after, then I needed to get on high blood pressure medicine, and I'm just like, geez, Louise. I'm sitting here just like, and then later I realized one caused the other. Like it's a
Yeah.
side effect. And I'm just like, so when I had this goal of being healthy, I started working on it probably the beginning of 2018. I'm just like,
Yeah.
holy cow, like I need to get my health back. I need to get my life back. And I started really working on, making myself happy and um, you know, eating healthy and working out. And I lost a bunch of weight. I was able to get off that medication, both of them, and I haven't been on them since. And when I noticed how my health was going in October of last year, that's when I'm like, enough is enough. I'm like, I do not want to have to get on medication again.
Yeah.
That is my big thing is like I know my parents like they had a closet full or a cupboard full of medication. And I'm like, I do not want that because I know one leads to the next. I know that our
Yeah.
body can heal itself. We just need to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
You need an actual science and a protocol and
yeah,
in ways that work, not this one hit wonder. But the thing is that that's none of those one hit wonders works by itself, right?
no,
We are not designed to live in one way, one season, one thing. This is not, we are cyclical creatures. I like, if you want to think about your life, think of it in terms of like an annual cycle, right? Like you want to think over, like, what am I like over the course of a year? And it's in flux, and you should constantly be changing things, because this is actually, right, if you think about how we're nomadic, really truly nomadic people, it's only been a couple hundred years that we've been, extremely domesticated, right? Maybe a couple thousand years extremely still and domesticated, right? And like, we're supposed to be changing things up. Our genome has not evolved to catch up with our sedentary lifestyle and doing these one hit wonders and eating the same thing and over and over again, right? But our bodies know how to heal themselves. We just have to communicate with them. And that's what I learned to do, back to what qualifies me to be here, right? That's what I learned to do. So I signed up for everything at that point. Like I tried all the things. So I actually have experienced all of the things, like the keto, the paleo, and then I got certified in everything, over the course, so I became a hypnotherapist because I was like, it's my beliefs and my deep subconscious programming that's stopping me. Why am I, like, why am I craving these things, and then I did all the intermittent fasting, and I did, got all that fast training and certified and all that stuff. Then I like was like, okay, hormones, and then I got really did a deep dive in that. But ultimately, what I studied was being a woman. And I'm still studying today. I can't stop myself because it's so fascinating what is possible for us when we understand that we are uniquely, not only as individual, beautiful women, You know, how many times have you sat around a table like I used to sit around in my journey and be there sitting there going, "Oh, you're taking the HCG shot. Okay, that's working for you." You know, why is that? That doesn't work for me, right? So you compare yourself to all your girlfriends, right? And you're like, "Why is that working? Why is she get? What's wrong with me?" There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that it's not designed for you, that particular thing. But maybe this other thing is that might not work for Susie, right? So you have to understand what that's like. Like you have to design what you want. And it's this is education. This is like a manual that we should have gotten as children, right? This
Yeah.
is a like we don't know. Like I was like, God, I'm a nurse and I don't know. You know, and so who would, right? So you got to really, it's this learning and this innate experience of it. So that's what I put myself through. I put myself through like a very, very long intensive period of intense healing and intense studying and intense trying everything. So like if you like I've been on that, I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. You
Yeah.
know? And
I swear I've tried everything too. Like,
yeah,
and it just seems like it doesn't work. And I'm like, well,
it
my
works.
girlfriend over there just said she lost 10 pounds and she's looking great. Like, why isn't it working for me? Like trying
Right.
so many different things and just like, okay,
That's right.
what gives?
Yeah, so I had to back it in, right? So I had to like, oh, we backed it up. So the approach works with like, you know, you got to figure out like where you're really going, like what do you want for you, right? And then you got to back it up to, okay, I know this core theory. If you're anybody's listening, you might want to write this down because this is so powerful, right? It's it's health is not the side effect of weight loss. Yes, you can get healthier if you lose weight, no duh, but weight loss is the side effect of brilliant cellular health.
Hmm.
And that's
Weight
the part,
loss is the side effect of brilliant cellular health.
yeah, yeah. And so and so like when you see somebody walking down the street and you're like, oh, she's glowing, you know, like you can kind of, I don't know if you've been watching this and you've seen Kristen, like she's starting to glow, right? And that's like health. That's health. And her body's going, it's safe to lose weight, right? So that's this is experience. So I guess I kind of to pepper in the story, right? So then I had that moment, right? That come to Jesus moment that we all have, you know. What was your come to Jesus moment, Kristen, when you were like, no more?
It was when my clothes were starting to get too tight, and I'm just like, I do not like the way I feel, or the way I feel, the way I look, and I'm just like, I worked too hard doing this years and years ago, and I'm just so tired of the yo-yo dieting, and what like something has to work. What the heck is it?
Right. Right. Yeah, and it's not one thing. That's the whole thing. It's not. It's your thing. And so it takes time. We have to remember that it took us time to get here. It takes time. There is no quick fix that is going to serve you long term. Yes, you can force your body to have quick, fast results. Absolutely. You can keto, you can intermittent fat, you can do anything like that, right? But when you got to heal your mind and your heart and your physiology all working together, right? This is what the science shows us that is the most powerful, and this is how you get lasting transformation. So that's it, right? So we heal our nervous systems, right? We heal our nervous systems. You're hearing about that, but what does it really mean? Nervous system regulation is a sense of creating like safety in our lives. Nervous system regulation is a sense of creating absolute a space for the body to let go, you know? And so in my case, as I was going through this and I had my own come to Jesus meeting, I just remember looking in the mirror, like, you know, you get the snapshot. I was out paddleboarding because I was still working out and doing all this stuff. And somebody took a picture of me from behind. Oh, oh, girl. I was like, oh, shit. And then I just went and looked in the mirror and I cried because my perfect labs, like all the time, I was like, my labs are fine, my labs are fine, my labs are fine, right? Because I was a nurse, right? Even a holistic nurse, like, and I knew there could be things, but like
Yeah.
doctor's like, okay, now you need a thyroid medication. I'm like, thyroid medication. I'm like, I don't. You like it? And I was like, oh, well, that's dangerous. I better take it, right? You know, and then I'm getting like untalking myself out of things I knew, right? And I was like, okay. And then they're like, and I was like, well, I'm really tired. And they're like, let's do a sleep study. I was sleep apnea. What the hell? So the thing, you know, the machine, the CPAP, got one of those.
Yep.
That was pretty sexy. I'm not gonna lie. So like the divorced woman, right? So there she is going, oh, it's like the hopes of dating just totally dashed, right? So that was the moment, really. I think I got the pic. It was like within a matter of weeks, I got that picture, and then I got the CPAP, and then I was like, hell no. But wait a minute, I know all this stuff, and it hasn't been working. I've been eating clean. I don't know, like, how is this happening? And I was like, okay, I got to get to the root of this stuff, and I'm gonna do experiments and figure out what works for me. Right. So finally, that's exactly what I did. I stopped everything. Everything. It probably wasn't dangerous. I don't recommend anybody doing that. Do not do that. Do not do anything without consulting your physician. Caveat. um, and then I just did one thing at a time to see what actually affected my body. And I learned that my body felt very unsafe, that my nervous system was completely dysregulated, that I was carrying around some serious emotional trauma. And that one I was already good at because I was already helping high performing women heal their transformation, like heal their trauma, heal their emotional, excel in their businesses. I was already crushing that, and I was like, okay, I'm good at this. I can, and I'm doing, and I'll do it on myself, and that worked. And I was like, okay, I have a lot more peace. And then I was like, okay, this nervous system regulation. So then, of course, I got breathwork certified and all this stuff. So now, so I mean, I just had to know everything because I had to know. I had to know because I was so tired of not knowing. Like, really. I healed my relationship with my breath. And I got like free. Like, and we teach that often. Like, we do all these different types of breath work to, like, what has that done for you, Kristen? Like, it just,
So I want to talk about that real quick
yeah,
because I've worked with the previous coaches in the past,
yeah.
business coaches and stuff like that, and they would have us do breath work, but they never explained what the heck we were doing. And with you, I learned that it is like the greatest medicine that we could have. So I started digging in deeper to it. And the reason why no one talks about it is because they can't make money off of
Because it's
it.
free. I
It's
teach you,
free.
I teach you all the free stuff. Like, yeah, breathwork is one factor in what we do, and it is free, right? I teach you
Yeah.
all the things that you can walk up. My goal for women, and I was just like, is for you to walk away with like a manual, and you literally inside our train, our healing, holistic healing program, you actually walk away with a manual where you get to design your life and you know what practices are yours and what aren't. Like, just let it go. You do not got to do another Google search, right? Like,
Yeah.
women need to heal. And I knew I had something inside me, just like maybe, whoever's listening, that you have something inside you that you have to give. And like you're kind of procrastinating, like you're waiting on it. Like you're like, okay, when the kids get older, oh, next week after the weekend I recover, then next week I'll plant the garden and 4 years go by, like Kristen was telling us. Right. And then like the mom guilt, and so now there's the guilt and the shame and the, oh my God, and they're going to grow up and I'm going to miss it and all that, which is real for
Yes.
so many women. Right.
Yes. Yeah. Like probably maybe 4 years ago, I was like, I'm to the point where I almost feel like I need to sell my business because I don't want to miss out on my children's lives.
Yeah.
Because like it was just consuming
Yeah.
so much energy and stuff like that. And I literally have met other people, um, with groups that I've been in who have just sold their business because they're like, I only have 2 years left with my kid. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to work on being with my kid right now and volunteering, and I'll figure it out later. And I'm just like, holy cow.
Hmm.
Um, I know it's slightly off topic,
Well, no,
but
it's right on topic because how many women are thinking like that, right? You're not, you don't have
yeah.
to spend with your kids. You're kind of, the term burned out, right? That's like legit and real, right? Because there's a lot of reasons why. But like you kind of suffered from like when I first ran into you, you've been trying and you were suffering like there's a term, there's a great book out there called by Libby Weaver called Rushing Woman Syndrome that really explains a lot. I highly recommend it. But it's all about like this, the cortisol rush, and everybody kind of knows about cortisol, and cortisol is not a villain, but it is a villain when we're overextended into it and like we overreach. And most women, we don't, that's part of nervous system regulation, part of hormonal balance, right? Is being able to adjust and turn off and on cortisol as it's actually healthy for you and serves you, because like it's powerful to understand how to heal your body. But I love what happened to you because you were like, is it okay? I'm not gonna like not to be dismissive of your
Sure.
amazingness, but you were fully like a hot, like you were so uptight. I was like, I was like, okay, mentors, we're gonna have to give this woman extra love because we are not letting her go. We're gonna get her across the moat, and what like kind of transpired for you because this when you what you told me a couple weeks ago during what transformed for you during tax season, kind of like you already alluded to it, like I actually started crying, like, because this is the thing.
This is probably like the fourth tax season since I've been in business for 13 years where I've lost a key employee in February. It's happened 3 or 4 times now. Um, and tax season, you should be stressed out. Like, I don't want to say you should be, but I mean, that's the norm. I remember changing out of my accounting degree when I first was getting my undergrad from accounting because the lady I was working for was only getting 4 hours of sleep at night because she was so busy working on taxes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want that life. So this tax season, um, I do, like I said, I have an amazing team. I feel like I still have the right people where they need to be. And even with losing a key employee in February, we retransitioned. Um, but I only worked Monday through Thursday, like 9. Sometimes I'd get in earlier, but I left at 3 every single day. But in the past, what I've done to catch up with work is I would, after dinner, whatever, I would work. I'd log in here at my home office and work till about 10 o'clock at night. And then I'd work Fridays. Like Fridays was my tax day. I only worked on taxes. And then sometimes if I felt really behind, I'd work like on Saturday.
Yeah.
And this tax season, not only did I feel amazing, did I feel great, I didn't veg out every single weekend, but I didn't come home and work on taxes and work on that. I actually spent time with my family, with my 2 boys and my husband. We had date night at least like once every 2 weeks. We would do a date night. Um, and I only worked 1 or 2 Fridays the entire 4 months. And it was because I had a training that I wanted to attend and I didn't work any Saturdays. So, yes, I had to extend a lot more tax returns this year, but I was not burnt out come April 15th. I was still able to keep on going. I didn't need to take a vacation like I've done in the past. I'm like, see ya, I'm out of here. I'm gone for a week. Um, so it just really felt amazing that I had the energy. I wasn't burnt out in the evenings. I had quality present time with my family and my kids, and I still got the work done.
That's wow. Yes. That's it. That's like my purpose, right? Like I say, I sell aliveness and weight release is the side effect, right?
Yeah.
Aliveness, cellular health, emotional health, mental well-being, healing your relationship with food, figuring out your trait, like all this stuff, figuring out why you do what you do, figuring out why you crave what you crave, right? And this is the process I put myself through because I was not going to end up like my mom at the table, being the one counting the pills, who also was the perfect workaholic, burning herself out, did all the things, retired early, only to, and I'm just going to make a very sad story very quick, but she retired and dropped dead of a stroke.
Mm,
Like
wow.
that's her legacy, right? And she had all these dreams of, traveling to the, Europe, and she was waited and put everything on hold like we do. Like people were like, I'm gonna wait till this, or I'm gonna wait to start the program till this, I'm gonna wait till after summer, I'm gonna wait till after the holidays, blah, 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 whatever, and we wait on our lives. And my mom was like my complete and total reason. I was like, uh-uh. Okay, CPAP down. And then I went through all these experiments and created a system, a scientifically based system, because I was tired of listening to the stuff from the woman who's trying to sell me something, and this person and that person. And I just really wanted to understand my own body because I certainly didn't learn that in health class, even in
Yeah.
nursing school. I didn't learn that. And so I did, and I partnered up with like different functional people and I figured it out. And so create a system designed for women by women that works for you to,
Yeah.
yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like when I talked with you, like I signed up right away in October and I couldn't start until January. Because that's when the next one was And I didn't really know what I was signing up for. Like my girlfriends would be like, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this healthy, thriving women group. They're
Yeah.
like, what's that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. But Lori's amazing. And I'm just going to trust it and trust her. And I think this is it. So, um, yeah. So Lori, like, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Like
Yeah.
what, you said you have a free gift for people.
I do, I do. Yeah. So yeah, well, I guess like all the arch of the story kind of, I hope it gave enough information and some value for you guys to see what's possible for you, because what's possible for me is I ended up losing 65 pounds, right? Over like steadily, sustainably. I've never felt better in my life, and like life just is working. I'm 55 and people are like, get out of Dodge. Like I wouldn't have guessed you over 40. Maybe they're lying. I don't know, but it's pretty, and so that's what happens for my clients,
Yeah.
right? That's what I want, right? Because all of us women, most of my clients are entrepreneurs, or they're a leader in their home or their community or doing something important, right? And as we all know, the planet needs more women to feel amazing and thrive so that we can influence our children, influence our communities, influence our the greater globe, and most especially like each other, and then lift each other up and have the energy not to be like shut off on the weekend, right? Date night with your husband, memories, right?
Yeah.
Taking stuff with your children off the planet. This is what we signed up for when we came to planet Earth, right? So, my gift for you is to get super clear on what you want for your life. So, I have created a life design book, right? Where
Mm.
you get to kind of walk through some really great journal prompts, and like kind of decide, like, oh, where is there, what's holding me back a little bit. And there's a lot of really fun exercises in there. You take an hour, and then all of a sudden you're like, a light bulb can turn on, an inspiration can turn on. So I really would encourage you to accept this gift, and not only accept it and don't just put it in your, print it and put it away to do later, because that's what we do, right? Oh, and
Yep.
get it out. And actually, I mean, my gift and coaching and challenge for you would be to take a moment to stop and sit down, go take yourself out of your normal environment, go to a cafe, have some fun, or whatever you like, whatever environment, woods or lake, whatever, and fill this out and see if you can have some insight as to what might be calling you, what might be next, what might be your key to unstick, or if that's what you're feeling. So anyways, it's been my real pleasure to be here, Kristen. Thank you. Thank you. I hope I gave you guys some hope. That's like
Yeah. This was wonderful. So we will have a link to that book that you mentioned. And then we'll also put a link to how to reach you and to contact
Yeah,
you.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. A link to, yeah. And if you want to talk to me, please, my website is laurierock.com, and it's LAURIEROCK.com. And on there, if you want to reach out to me, you can message me on Facebook or Instagram, all that stuff, all the information is there. But you can also just go ahead, and if you want to like get on a weight loss breakthrough session, a holistic weight loss breakthrough session, and whether we choose to work together or not, that's not the deal. It's whether you can walk away with at least a mini plan to kind
Yeah.
of start your next steps. So I would
Yeah.
totally encourage you to book a call, because I am so happy to support you in living a healthy, thriving life. Thank you, Kristen, for having me here. You're freaking awesome. Like, you are crushing
You're
it.
welcome. Thank you, everyone. If you want to contact Lori, just reach out to her, how she said, and we'll have the links below. And thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate you. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, everyone.